Hello there, and thank you for joining us on Testify for yet another moment where our faith gets to be built up. I am your host, Sharon Aitore Wangenye, and if you joined us last week, we had a story of Sally Agallo, who has lived with HIV/AIDS for the past 20 plus years. She has survived cancer 3 times. She's lost 2 babies, and she's just been through a whole lot of things. The story did not end last week. There is a bit that we need to hear today, and that's why we still have her on set today. Thank you for joining us once again, Sally.
Thanks, Sharon, for having me once again. I'm so delighted.
I think I really just thank God for you. Just hearing you share your story and see you as strong as you are is a testimony indeed. So last week we left it at you've gone through another through a test, and you've been diagnosed with cancer of the cervix.
Yes.
And they've had to remove your uterus. And your husband, who you took in so that you could help, has asked to marry another woman. But eventually he died.
He died because he went looking for this woman and he didn't find. Because now, you know, when you have HIV and you're just glues and going to bed with everybody and you're not on medication. So he died from opportunistic infections. And I was able to go to the funeral and speak and tell them the truth.
How was it for you at that point?
I must say that I had recovered, and, you know, also my faith in the Lord had grown. So, and having worked in the hospital for long, and seeing all these things happening, I think I had some, can I call it shock absorbers for such things? So, okay, it was at that moment when the news was broken to me that he's died, I got so emotional because I started remembering the good times we had. Of course, even all of us have our weaknesses.
Yeah.
So the only things I was seeing that moment is the good times, like when we got the baby and all this, not the bad part. It was just the memories of good times. But anyway, I went and to the burial, and I asked for forgiveness to the family members if there's anything they're still holding against me. And I said it was wrong for you people to advise him to go and get married, because this is what we had HIV and he was supposed to take care of his life. So when you allowed him to do this, you see now the results. So I was able to say that, but I said, okay, I've forgiven you, but I also ask that you forgive me. Because things didn't go well both sides. I can't say I'm an angel, but I said, okay, let's forgive each other and let it end there.
And by the time he was passing on, had you let go? I mean, bearing in mind that he had infected you and all the abuse and all the things that were around it.
Yeah, I forgave him when now the family came to ask me that I need to take him back because he was very sick, and I was like, if this guy dies and I haven't forgiven him, I'll you know, as a Christian, you have that conscience that you need to let go. So I said, it's fine, I've forgiven you. You didn't tell me you had HIV and you brought me all this. It's fine. Let's now forget whatever has happened and let's... And he was happy, and he got very well, by the way, after taking ARVs, because it was a very good medical cover that he had stigma, so he couldn't go to Mbagathi to take ARVs like I did. He chose to go to Nairobi Hospital.
Oh, wow.
And there no one would know you have HIV. So he got the best treatment and he got so well. Even by the time he was going to these women, they couldn't tell that he had it. So that happened, and after now, okay, we separated during that time from 2007 when I had my cervix removed. So we were not in touch, but I could hear he's not well, he's doing this. But I said, okay, let me not hear that. I have my own life to take care of. So for all this time, we were not together. But I was being followed so closely. So after 2007, I was being followed so closely for these cancer issues because I also have HIV. So the follow-up was very close, and my employer, who I'm so grateful to, really, really took care of me and said, go to checkups every time you have to be checked, and So as they continued checking, after 3 years, unfortunately, in 2010, it was noted that I had cancer again in the colon. So in 2007, the doctor said, don't worry, we'll do what is called total hysterectomy. We'll remove your uterus, your womb, all these things. And now, if the cancer is concentrated, they're still in stage 2. So then if we remove all this, there'll be no need for chemotherapy or radiotherapy because we've removed all this. And
So you never got the chemo? And
yeah, I was supposed to get them, but there are several tests that they run, especially for the blood, but I didn't have enough. Like my white blood cells were very low. I only had 10. So that was very low. So, and the doctor was very frank and honest, and he told me, if I do chemotherapy on you, you will die.
Yeah.
Because chemotherapy will kill all your cells and your body has to fight back. And because you already have immunosuppression from HIV, you won't make it. So I won't do this to you. And I thought, okay, maybe that was the Lord, because the Lord still wanted me to do some work for him. So again, it was very heavy for me.
So 3 years later, they again say you have cancer of the colon.
Of the colon. And again, the same way, the doctor tells me, we're going to cut part of your colon. The colon is so long, like it can come from here to the gate or I don't know where. So we're only going to cut like the size of a ruler and a half. And I'm like, what? So how many parts of my body will be removed?
Yeah.
And I'm asking, I again became bitter with God. I said, God, honestly, HIV, I've lost my kids, my husband has run away, and now, but the Lord says, I want you to go and save my people.
He kept on saying
that. He kept on saying, go. The go part has never left even to date. Like, go and save my people. So, and that's why I do talks like this to inspire people, because God wants me to tell my story so that people can know He is God. So now, the doctor again says, the colon is large and it's long. We're only going to cut, a ruler. You went to school, so a ruler and then another part, kidogo. What? Yes.
That's
again,
another surgery.
Let me tell you, Sharon, I've gone to theater over the number of times I can count, 13 times.
Wow.
13 times.
Wow.
Like for me, I was told cancer can be treated in 3 ways. There's the chemotherapy, radiotherapy, or surgery. You can have all of them, or 2 or 1. So for me, because of my immunosuppression, we agreed with the doctor that it will be surgery. He told me, you will go through a lot of pain, but all your procedures will be done in theater. So for every procedure, my treatment was done in theater, and I can count, the number of times I counted was 13. I lost count at some point. Because every time I went to the hospital, it was theater. Everything was theater. Because it was like, checking in there, you can't just do it like this. You have to go to theater. You have to. So some were major surgery, minor, things like those. And because things also that came with complications of HIV, so I was in theater many times. So my colon is cut.
You sign and your colon is cut.
Yes.
Can I ask something? By this time, you have 9 siblings. You're the last born. Where are they? Where is family? I mean,
they are there, but now they can't. Okay, some live up country. I was here with my sister. My family was very supportive, I would say. Of course, friends. And the friend I told you last week that was left her children stopped her children from going to school so that she can pay school fees for me, was there for me, and she could do literally anything for me. And actually when I came back to Nairobi, she's the one who brought me to fellowship at Sitam, Valley Road. It was Nairobi Pentecostal Church then. So she told me, please come to our church. And I would come to church and people would look at me like, oh my God, this woman. I had all the signs. And I didn't fear, I didn't tie like a kitambo on my head. I could just walk with the hair was fallen and it was looking like, like for a small baby.
It's canty.
But I came to church and she really encouraged me. So I went through the discipleship class and I was just positive about everything. I mean, you look at me, that's your own problem. It's not my cup of tea. So you look at me, but I've come, I've fellowshipped, and I go home. So again, now after discipleship, we were encouraged that you have to join a Bible study in your estate where you live. And I said, oh my God, now with this ukimwi thing, the way I'm looking, will I really be accommodated in a Bible study. But to my surprise, I just went, signed, and then I was told, now for you expect a call from this person, you'll be called, and then you'll be told when they meet so that you can join them. So I was called in the estate where I live, and I was told, we meet on this day at such and such a time. Please come to gate number what. So I went, and and they welcomed me so well, and I sat there. Like, they didn't stigmatize me, they just welcomed me well, and I had fellowship. At some point, I was even made the Bible study leader.
Oh, wow.
And this group also supported me so much, so much. And they also could buy for me the medication at times. They could give small donations and tell me, go and buy your medication. And so they really supported me. My family as well.
Yeah.
Okay, some of my siblings had died. We're only 5 now, but they could do whatever they're not well off financially, but they could. The moral support, they were there for me, finding out how I am, and making sure I'm fine. And of course, that time people were dying, and some relatives were telling my sister, why don't you take her home early, because if she dies here, it will be a burden for us. But she said, that's why we have Langata. If she dies here, I'll bury her in Langata.
Oh, wow.
And one thing I always tell people, when someone is in a coma, very sick, don't talk bad things near them. They may not be able to speak and answer you back, but they're hearing. The brain is so alert, and they can hear everything. So if you visit someone in ICU, you don't start saying, oh my God, or you start crying, or you start, whatever you're saying, this person is hearing. It's only that they can't speak and they can't answer you, but they're hearing.
Yeah.
I think the brain is the last thing that dies. So I could hear everything, and people telling my sister, you advising her, why are you taking this burden, and you know HIV people don't survive, let her go home. But my sister didn't accept that. So now, after my colon was cut, unfortunately the cancer was spreading again to another part of the body, which is the rectum.
Oh my.
So now this is 3 times. The third time now.
Third time. Now this is after how long?
This is the same year, 2010.
Yeah.
Going to 2011. So because I was being monitored, so they kept cutting the colon, but the cancer kept spreading. So within the same year, it went to the rectum. And this time I was in a lot of pain. I had bloating. I was not able to eat. And I go to the doctor, and he tells me, Sally, don't worry. You know, I'd gone to theater so many times for so many procedures. So every time I could just sign the consent without caring. But this time I was in so much pain. The doctor told me, don't worry, we'll give you a colostomy and you'll be fine.
What's that?
Thank you. You see? Thank you. What's that?
Just hold it right there. You will tell us what that is when we come back after this break. Stay with us. Welcome back, and thank you once again so much for staying with us. So Sally, the cancer has spread again, yet again.
To the rectum.
To the rectum. And they're saying they will give you a what?
A colostomy.
What is that?
You don't know what a colostomy is?
I don't know.
I also didn't know then. So then I'm told, don't worry, we'll give you a colostomy and you'll be fine. But because I'd gone to theater for so many procedures, and they're telling me this medical jargon, I just signed the consent as usual, and we went to theater, and I'm coming out of theater. So after, I was dragged so much, like not the usual way, like I could go and come back and wake up immediately. This time I was so drowsy. I stayed, I think, 2 days. So when I wake up, I find a nurse standing on my side, and she's telling me, my dear, you need to remove that bag. And I'm like, bag? When I was going to theater, I thought my bags were taken home. So what is this bag this woman is telling me? Remove the bag. What bag? And she kept on saying, remove that. I want you to remove that bag. And I'm like, bag? So she kept on pointing at my side. So I decided to look at what she was pointing. Another trauma again, Sharon. I was so traumatized because what I saw her pointing was not what I expected. I looked at my side, the side that she was pointing, and I saw something huge and pinkish. And I looked at it again. I said, this is my intestine that has been left hanging out, and we're already from theater. I just took my
The
bed
covers,
sheet and just covered my face. She told me, I'm telling you, remove that bag. And I'm like, what did the doctor do? You mean the surgeon took me to theater, cut my intestine and left it hanging out? And I looked at it again, and it was covered by some plastic thing. And I looked at it again, and it had some stuff in it, some bloody thing, I don't even know how to describe it. So I'm looking at this woman, and she's telling me I need to, so I understood that what she was telling me was I need to remove this or drain whatever is inside this pouch or something. I was trying to add 1 + 1 because she wasn't explaining to me what exactly she meant. She was only telling me, remove this bag, remove a bag. So then I asked her, oh, are you telling me to remove this? She said, yes, I'm telling you to remove that. And then I told her, I just composed myself and told her, please help me to do it. Like, you have a baby and you've put a diaper on the baby. You don't expect them to remove it. You have to help them until the day they'll grow, and then they're able to do it themselves. And she looked at me and said, do you know what you're telling me? It's equivalent to, let's go to the toilet and carry this tissue and wipe me. And I said, oh my God.
Oh, wow.
So this is where my poo is coming out from. And no one else can do it except me. But I have a very big wound here. I can't bend, I can't stand, I can't do anything. So I told her, help me. She said, utajipanga. And she left.
What?
Yeah, she just looked at me and said, utajipanga. And it was in one of these big hospitals in the country. I won't mention which one. And she told me, utajipanga. And she left. And the doctor came and asked her, Doctor, what did you do? You actually cut my intestine and left it hanging. And he said, don't worry. You know, consultants, they just come check, how are you doing? And checking if the thing is active, and goes. And he did that day 1, day 2, day 3. Day 8, I told him, Daktari, we've been laughing with you because we've been friends for a while. Today, you know, I'm an activist from my HIV side. I'll do some activism here today. If someone doesn't sort me out today, at lunchtime, I'll strip myself naked and walk on this corridor with this bag, with this intestine that you didn't return back after surgery.
So it was actually intestines?
It was my intestine, and it was huge.
So why is it hanging outside?
Yeah, just listen. So the doctor said, okay, this is the Sally I will laugh with, but today she looks serious. So she's talking of activism in HIV world. Now she wants to bring, if she does this in this hospital, our reputation will just go down. So a male nurse comes now and tells me, Sally, how are you? I didn't even want to listen to him. I was so depressed. Now, I just covered myself. I said, I've come to help you to change this bag that is stressing you. I said, okay, do it. So I covered myself and looked away. And said, no, I want you to see what I'm doing, because you'll be doing it yourself. And he insisted. I said, I'm not going to look at it. Just do your thing and go. I said, I would do it and go. I want you to see what I'm doing. And now pole pole, he started explaining to me, remember when you went to the hospital, we were going to theater, you were in a lot of pain and the doctor told you he'll give you a colostomy. And so this is what it meant. Colostomy means that the rectum was removed. And the rectum is attached together with part of the colon that was removed earlier, and it's also attached to the anus. So all this was removed. And my dear, you have to eat and pass stool. So how will you pass stool without these organs?
And yet it passes through those organs.
And you have to eat and live. Your heart is still beating. So your doctor had to do a diversion, and this is what is called a colostomy.
Wow.
So this is your new passage of stool. So this is your intestine that was cut, brought outside and sutured on top of the skin to make a new hole for passage of stool. The doctor did not have enough time to explain to you, but that is what he meant when he said colostomy. So it is colostomy because it has come from the colon. If it was from the small intestine, which is also called the ileum, then it would have been an ileostomy. If maybe you had cancer in the bladder, it could have been a urostomy. But it's simply a hole to pass stool so that you're able to live again. And I told God, what? Again? Another condition? Yes, my daughter, another condition. But my grace is sufficient. I want you to go and save my people. So
God
the God
still
thing,
says that.
The God thing, I said, God, you're not being fair.
Wow.
Honestly, God, you're not being fair. But this person really took me through a very intense counseling session and explained everything and told me to ask as many questions as I want. So by the time he was changing it, I was able to look at it and see what he was doing, because I was going to live with this for the rest of my life. Now you understand, when I started and said I'm 50 years old, I am proud because after going through all this, I can still celebrate a birthday and another and another. I'm grateful to God. So now this colostomy is done. And I asked this person, are you sure there's someone else living with this condition, or I'm the only one? He said, there are many people living with this condition. I said, I'm not leaving this hospital until I see someone else, and not one and not two. I want to see many people you are talking about.
Wow.
Many people, yes, I want to see them. So because from HIV, I was involved in support groups, and I saw how it was helping people. So this nurse kept bringing people to me, people who have lived with the condition for 10 years, 15, 20 years, and they kept on coming. So when we reached 6, I said, okay, it's fine. That was after 2 months. My employer was very good and said, stay in the hospital as long as you want, until the day you are okay with that condition, that you can now go home and continue with your life, but don't leave. If it is the bill, we will sort it. And I'm so grateful. So after 6 people, I said, can we start a support group at least? You know, from HIV experience, support groups help. So they said, yeah, why not? By there's no support group. And even getting this bag that you are being told to remove is not easy. And then I realized, if this is happening to me in this big hospital, what is happening in public hospital, for example, Kenyatta and the rest? So after discharge, I decided to visit Kenyatta Hospital. And what I saw was pathetic. At least I had a bag that I was being told to remove. There was nothing. They could cover themselves with tissue, with anything, Pampers, with anything that they could find. Because now it's not the normal way of passage of stool. It is a creation. So, I mean, that hole will just pass stool anytime. So that is why it has to be covered with a bag. And the bag I'm talking about is this. So this is a colostomy bag. So what happens? The intestine goes through this here, the hole there. So this has an adhesive. So you peel it off. So and then I stick it to my body like that. So my intestine is here, so it goes in there, and then it stays like that. So when the stool comes, it fills in the bag, and then I take the bag off and put another one. Sharon, today if you had a patient in the hospital, and they told you, daktari amesema uende ununue kitu, would you know where to get it?
I have no idea.
Kenyans don't have information.
No idea.
Surgeons or medics, in short, they don't give us information. They don't tell us. So patients are traumatized, like I was traumatized. And that's why I decided to do what I'm doing today. I've lived with this condition now for 10 years.
Wow.
And I'm going to live with it for the rest of my life. I'm now 50, maybe I have another 50 more years, I don't know. I don't know how many more God wants me to live to help his people. But that's why I've chosen to do whatever I'm doing, to create awareness. One of these costs 1,000 shillings.
No.
Even if you have to buy, for how long will you buy?
1,000 shillings.
Yes.
One.
Like now I don't have a job, I depend on donations. I depend on care, on well-wishers. And I need it, otherwise I can't eat, so that then nothing comes out. And I'm on medication, so what happens to me when I don't eat? I'll die of hunger. And
you have no control of what comes out. I mean,
So I've seen people who've starved themselves to death because they can't find this thing. You can have that 1,000 shillings, but you go around this Nairobi looking for it and you can't find it.
You can't find it.
You can't find it.
What is it called?
A colostomy bag.
Oh, okay.
You know, the condition is colostomy, so
Yeah.
you need a colostomy bag
Yeah.
to cover the intestine.
Yeah.
Because you can't control the stool, it will just
Keep coming out.
keep coming out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
So-
you have to keep checking that the bag does not
Exactly.
fill up. And
Well, the adhesive can also give way when the bag fills up, so you have to keep checking so that it's not so full. You have to remove it, and so that again controls how much I eat. But I've gotten used to it now, being 10 years down the line. So the support group grew so much because we got people. I've shared my story so much, so every day I get a phone call, and we started the group with 6 people, and now we are over almost 300.
wow.
And I get phone calls from all over the country because people don't know. And I've seen people who have died because of depression. No support.
Just hold it right there. You have a foundation, and you will be telling us about that in just a short while. Please stay with us. Welcome back, and thank you for joining us. If you are on YouTube or Facebook or on your screen, we appreciate you. Thank God for you. And we ask that you would interact with us. Just as a comment, share, like, whatever it is. And we will, help to spread the hope and to encourage many out there. Welcome back, Sally.
Yeah.
At this point, I am just thinking, wow, how much can someone take in and still keep moving? I am just amazed at the many things you've gone through for the past several years, 20 plus years, and that you're still here. So you were just explaining about the bag.
The colostomy bag.
The colostomy bag, and how you've had to piece one of these things to your body.
Every day, 24/7.
Every day and night, it's on for the past 10 years.
Yeah. And I don't know how long.
Yeah, because...
And that's why, Sharon, I've always said I'll be proud. Every time I start my introduction, I have to say my age.
Yeah.
I'm proud that I've lived this long. It's not easy.
Please tell me, let me take you back a little. After the surgery and the rectum has been removed as well, and now you found yourself in this place and you're asking God, I thought we were done.
I mean, it's too much. But he says, no, go and save my people. And with this condition, now with HIV, I had already met so many people, and especially God is also using me in the area of people who want to commit suicide. Because when I'm called that this person wants to commit suicide, and I talk to them using my counseling skills. And in counseling, sometimes you are also allowed to confront a client. And I ask them, you want to commit suicide, what method do you want to use? Because I used the best method and I didn't die. So I go to that extent, and then I tell them, I share with them my story and tell them, I jumped into the Indian Ocean and I didn't die. And at that point, that thought just leaves them. They say, you didn't die and you're in the ocean and you don't know how to swim. Some don't believe, but a lot of people have listened and they have actually changed their minds. So in that area, God is also using me to talk to people. And I've talked to a lot of people. Even just sharing like this, I'm sure those people watching on Facebook or YouTube or wherever may be wanting to die because of loss of hope. But I've always told people to keep hope alive. As long as your heart is still beating, God has a reason.
There's by the time all this is going on with the colon and the rectum, and previously the cervical cancer, HIV/AIDS is still...
I mean, it's a virus. It's living in my body. So it's there. I'm on my medication and I'm also going for these surgeries, and so that's why I was asking God, honestly, do I have to carry all this burden?
Again, that's medication that has to be taken every day.
Yeah. Like for me, mostly was for pain. Okay, I took a lot of antibiotics, but for pain, because every procedure was in theatre. You know, theatre, when you come from there, it's pain. I went through a lot of pain with this colostomy thing, and for like 6 months I couldn't recover from the pain. So I was on morphine, I was on very strong painkillers for a very long time. But now, what I'm going through now is just HIV that I have to take ARVs. But the cancer, after all that was removed, in so my uterus was removed in 2007, and then 2010 my colon and the rectum. Then after, in 2012, when my husband was dying, I was declared cancer free. So the cancer cells can't be traced in my body anymore. I actually stopped going for appointments because now I can't afford the NGO I was working with, wound up, and now I lost my job. I can't say I really lost my job, but it was that time, that moment, that maybe the Lord wanted me to be there at that time, but now I have to go on and do other things for the Lord. So I'm not in employment right now, so I'm just depending on these motivational talks, and then I'm given a small token to be able to survive, and to be able to put food on the table. I'm grateful that my sister still put me in, and I'm still living with her, so I don't have to pay house rent. You can imagine if I have to pay house rent and look for this bag. So what happened, this nurse really supported me, and together with these other people, we were able to form a support group. It's called Stoma World Kenya. Stoma is that hole, that condition. So because we have many other groups in the world, so we decided we call ourselves Stoma World Kenya. So we've been in existence since that time, 2010, the time that, we were active now, 2012, after I recovered and I was able to speak. Because again, this condition, Sharon, has a lot of stigma.
I can imagine.
A lot of people, like I'm telling you, personally, I've talked to one-on-one with people for like about 1,000 people. But none of them is talking about it. You are hearing this for the first time.
Yeah.
And the group has been there from 2010.
Wow.
I'm the only one, and plus 2 others who talk openly about it, but the rest are not so open about it, and you'll not hear about this condition so much. But I said I want to talk about it. One, I want to lobby the government to be able to provide this appliance, because we don't have it in the country. What we are getting is from Canada. Like we have a group in Canada. This nurse helped us to write a proposal, and we get donations. And you know, donations is just like a church. If we don't go to church and give offering, our pastors will not get salary because they depend on that.
Yeah.
So donation is not sustainable. So we want our own government. We are the taxpayers. So the government should be able to provide this to Kenyans who need it. And one thing is information. Information should be given to someone before the surgery. I always tell the surgeons, please, I know I'm not a medic, but if you can just call me to share my story and tell someone, you're going in for that surgery of colostomy, I am here. I've had it for 10 years. I'll give you support. I'll show you other people. I'll show you how to get the bag. I'll show you how to fix the bag. Because nurses don't want to do that dirty job. You'll find very few nurses doing it. Like you're shocked now that what is this?
Yeah.
And this is a condition that a lot of people are walking without here. But appliances are not there. And some people are depressed because that 1,000 shilling, will you buy a colostomy bag, or will you buy food to pay school fees, or do what?
Maybe medication.
Yeah, what is the priority?
Yeah.
And this, you can't walk. I can't be sitting here with you if I didn't have it.
Yeah, sure.
Because of the smell. I can't walk out. I can't go to church. I can't do anything. Yeah.
Wow. So tell me, apart from the from this, you call it Stoma World Kenya, is there any other group or organization that you're involved in, and what are you doing?
Okay, for now I'm concentrating on this.
Okay.
But on other voluntary basis, I'm also involved with, there's a missionary called Family Care Missions that we do a lot of projects in Kibera. Again, witnessing and talking to people about living positively with whatever condition. For me, it's HIV and cancer. For another person, it's diabetes. For another person, is whatever. And also in church, as I had said, I'm a member of Christ the Answer Ministries, Sitam Valley Road. We also formed, I really thank God for Pastor McKenna, Ma'am Nancy Oginde and Eda Adoyo. They really supported me plus other people to form a group here in church, which is called the New Hope Ministry. So New Hope Ministry has people who have gone through various things in life, but we've come together and said we have to keep our hope alive.
Yeah.
And that's why we're calling ourselves, because after you've gone through all this and then suddenly the Lord lifts you up, there's that hope that, okay, life can actually go on. So we meet to encourage one another. We inspire people with our stories and also bring experts to talk to us about the different conditions and how to manage them. Because we have people who have also been maybe drug addicts, but now they've come to the Lord and they need deliverance, and they need to also share with other people about whatever they went through. So basically we share our experiences. When we began, because I was talking so much about HIV, people thought, oh, New Hope Ministries for people who have HIV, because if you see someone walking with Sally, then they're also positive. But we came to say that no, it is not for HIV alone. HIV is just a condition, that I am there having HIV, but there are other people having other conditions. But we come together to encourage each other.
You're no longer afraid of the stigma and everything that comes with it.
You will talk and when you don't talk about something, people will get stories to say. But if you go out there and say Sally has HIV, Sally has colostomy, Sally is wearing a bag, Sally, they say we know, she's talked about it, we know. So it will not be gossip.
Yeah.
But if you don't talk about it, someone will pass near you and you are smelling this person, what's happening with them? But Sally has already said she has HIV, so what will you be gossiping about me?
Yeah.
And that has brought healing. One of the things, after you speak and testify like the Lord has asked me to do it, there's some healing that comes with it, because you are free, you are not hiding anything. You are free to share with people, and when you are, like when I'm sick, people are so concerned because they know I'm going through this. So they say, is it the cancer side, is it the HIV side? So they are so willing to support because they already know what I'm going through. So when they're coming in to support, they know which areas to support me.
Do you sometimes sit and think, is God done yet, or is he preparing something else for me?
Yeah, like now this corona thing came, and I am still volunteering in Kibera, and I have to go and visit my patients in Kibera and bring them food, Sharon. Some people, because we were told people with chronic conditions, you are vulnerable, so you're not supposed to go outside. You get this corona. But I am out there helping these patients. I'm telling them, and they're saying, you are not fearing corona? I said, what I've gone through, so if God thinks it is corona that will take me, then Lord, I've worked for you, I'm ready.
Wow.
So the Lord has protected me. Of course, I protect myself. I wear the protective gear when I'm going in there, because I also can't expose myself to those patients who are also very sick. But I have to talk to friends and get some food to bring to these people, because they can't go out. A lot of them work in the industrial area. Now all the factories are closed. So I have to source for food stuff to bring to them. So I protect myself. But now, as we speak, I am ready. If whatever the Lord brings my way, I think He has really given me that strong shock absorber that I'm able to hold on to whatever comes. And I'm also encouraged with the word of God, like 1 Corinthians 10:13, that says that whatever we are going through, other people have gone through them. And other people are going through it now, and other people will go through. So you're not the first person. This is things that have happened, and they will still happen. So it is for us at this time, and other people will learn from our stories.
Sure.
Yeah.
And there's someone today who is watching the program, and they feel, I know you in bits you have been talking to that person who is at probably the edge of giving up, and probably suicide is the only way out, or curse God and die, the Job's wife, they're probably at that brink, and they would do with a word or two from you, just a direct word from you. What would you tell that person? I would tell that, just look into this camera.
I would tell you that God loves you, and He has good plans for you. He had a purpose to create you. And as long as your heart is still beating, you're still alive, God has a reason for you to be alive. And He wants you to work for Him. I always tell people, when we wake up every day, God has given us 24 hours. 8 hours, we are told we need to rest. 8 hours, we work to put food on the table. So I would challenge you, what are you doing with your 8 hours? for me, I'm using my 8 hours to inspire you today that despite all that I've gone through, I'm still here to share my testimony. Would you also want to live and share your testimony with someone else?
Wow.
Keep hope alive.
Keep hope alive.
Keep hope alive.
I love that. Would you want to live also and share your testimony with someone else?
Exactly.
That's very encouraging. Now, please tell me, is there, if someone is watching us today and they think, I could be a blessing to Sally or to the people that she helps out there, is there a way that they can probably get in touch with you?
Yes. One thing I would say that I would really appreciate if I would get support, especially financially, because I'm able to, so that I'm able to move from point A to B to visit these patients, and also just to go and speak to someone. As I said, I'm a member of Christ is the Answer Ministries, Sitam Valley Road, and I'm a member of the New Hope Ministry that is also helping people with chronic conditions. And you can also reach me for maybe personal counseling, or even for that donation, you can reach me on my number 0725234935. I will repeat 0725234935. You can also find me on Facebook. I have a page, Agallo Kwenda. Kwenda is my father. When I was young, I didn't like the name so much, but now when I'm grown, I'm fine to be called Kwenda. Agallo Kwenda. I have a page, and on another on Facebook, I'm Sally Kwenda. So you can also read my stories there. I'm sure even this will be sent online, and you can share it with someone. I'm very open about my status, so you can share my story. Let it go like wildfire. Let as many people reach out to as many people with my story and inspire anyone. If you have a group that you'd want me to come and speak with, I'll be glad to do that. Thank you so much.
Oh wow, thank you, Sally. I
feel so honored to be here today.
I don't know what to say. I'm just really thankful to God for you. That in this program we say our aim is to encourage people that their faith would grow, that they would know, you might be at that corner, kabisa, you're pushed to the corner.
Like you're saying it's the end.
Yeah, but there is hope. And we have indeed had that through you today and in the previous session. And we really thank, may He add on to your years that you may impact many more lives.
Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, Sharon.
Thank you. Thank you. God bless you. Oh, wow. I hardly lack words, but on this one, oh my. I pray that you have been encouraged, that your faith has been stirred, and I pray that you will remember something Sally said that is very important. God loves you. No matter what you're going through, He loves you, and yes, He does, and He will help you get through this, and you will indeed live to testify and give glory to His name. Thank you so much for joining us on the various platforms, YouTube, Facebook, on your TV. You can get in touch with us as always by contacting the number on your screen. You can also get in touch with us on the social media sites. May your faith in Jesus Christ keep growing. I have been your host, Sharon Aitore Wangenye. May God bless you.